out to you shortly. Our agenda today begins with Taylor Scholarship. It will be followed by Ms. Jasmine Stevenson from the North Carolina State Education, I'm sorry, North Carolina State Employee Credit Union Foundation. And I do apologize that I misspelled her name on this particular slide. It is Stevenson. So please forgive me for that. I will send out a corrected presentation to everyone with her name spelled correctly. We will do some Golden Leaf updates as well as child care grants, targeted assistance and less than half-time grant updates, and also have time for Q&A. This morning, we were preparing for Dr. Summers to talk about the Sam Taylor Scholarship. She is under the weather, so I'm going to cover her slides for her. And this is a scholarship program that you all are very familiar with. We're going to talk a little bit about the purpose of the scholarship, eligibility requirements, dates in which the scholarship should be announced and or applications sent in. I'm going to share with you some of the previous recipients and also give you a little time for questions. So I won't introduce myself. You all know who I am. But to start, the purpose of the Sam Taylor Scholarship Fund, it started about 25 years ago, and it was founded by Mr. Samuel M. Taylor. He was a great leader with the North Carolina Life Sciences Organization, formerly NC Bio. So that is a name that you all have seen and heard for the past couple of years because many of your students have received or benefited from this particular scholarship. But he was so fond of the life science industry that when he passed away in 2020, a few of the members got together and wanted to honor him. So they reached out to the community college system, therefore establishing the Sam Taylor Scholarship. And that particular scholarship, again, funds many of our students across our Grade 58 that are enrolled in participating or eligible programs. And I do want to point out that in the first year of organizing this scholarship, they met their $250,000 goal. So they continue to raise funds, which in turn will hopefully lead to more funding and more scholarship opportunities for our students. The scholarships, of course, as you know, are distributed on an annual basis. So if a student is attending full-time, they are eligible for up to $3,000, and that's $1,500 per semester to cover their tuition fees and books. That's a nice size scholarship. They do award to students who are enrolled less than full time. We've had a couple of students to get it, and they were enrolled at least quarter time. So one student, I believe, was in about 4 credit hours nearing the end of her program and was eligible for this scholarship. To qualify, some of the eligibility criteria, must be a North Carolina resident and eligible for in-state tuition, be enrolled in one of the life science programs that are listed here. And do want to point out to you that the programs have changed significantly. So students must be in agricultural biotechnology, bioanalytical laboratory technology, bioprocess manufacturing technology, clinical trials, research associate, or facility maintenance technology. So if the students are not in those particular programs, they will not qualify for the scholarship. So just want to make sure that you are aware that there are scholarship changes for the 24-25 year. Okay. And again, the requirements, of course, a student must be making satisfactory academic progress as defined by your college for graduation, and or as it relates to the particular program. They must be enrolled for the duration of the scholarship at the college where they enrolled at the time that they were awarded. So the scholarship does not transfer from community college to community college. If the student started at Durham Tech, the scholarship stays with them for the time that they are at Durham Tech. Completion of the FAFSA is required, and preference is actually given to students who have limited financial aid from other programs. So just keep that in mind, that it is pretty much need-based, and preference is given to students who have limited financial resources. We do have a community college general application form. This year, the form will say specifically for the Sam Taylor Scholarship and list the eligible degree programs. So that should limit the number of scholarship applications that are received, and or prevent confusion for the students that may be in a ineligible program. An essay is required, and that essay must provide information regarding their interest in the life sciences program, their goals once they have completed the program, and how the scholarship will help them financially. So a committee actually reviews this information and selects the recipients. Now, this year we do have some changes in our deadlines, because the intent of this particular scholarship is to get notify the students in a timely manner so that the funds can be at the college in time to possibly help cover their tuition, and limit the holds or whatever that you would have to put on the student's account, or send them reminders about payment. So if you will, on this particular slide, we are asking that the students submit the application directly to the colleges, and the colleges will need to submit those applications to the system office, to the financial aid term scholarship reporting email address that currently comes directly to me, and by July 12th of 2024. The committee will get together on the 19th of July and actually select the recipients. Colleges will be notified as well as the student, and hopefully the funding will go out to the students by the 31st of July. That is the intent, and if all goes well, we will meet those deadlines and hopefully help clear some student balances by your college's payment due date. These are a couple of the recipients that received the scholarships this past year, and I am happy to announce that what the North Carolina Life Sciences Organization does is they actually reach out to your student recipients and just encourage them to come to some of the events so that they can be recognized and pictures taken and get all kinds of accolades for just being a recipient of the particular scholarship. So in the past 3 years since the scholarship was organized, I think the first year it was 2021, 22, 13 scholarships have been awarded to 10 students. 4 of them have already graduated, and 2 more will graduate this spring. So Sam Taylor Scholarship is doing some great things for our students. Really appreciate that. And somebody's telling me that I'm echoing. Am I echoing to you all? Please let me know.
Not for me.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Jason. Okay, so at this point, are there any questions about the Sam Taylor Scholarship? I will be getting information out to you all, including the application. I will send you all a reminder about the deadlines. And I've also put in our resources page a link to the Life Sciences Organization, which is where the scholarship application and all information is also found. So that may be something that you would want to certainly point out to your students about the application itself. And I will be quiet for a moment and leave time for questions.
Brenda, I'm checking the chat box. I don't see anything
Okay.
there, and we'll just pause for a minute, but I don't see anything.
Okay. And I had already counted about 10 seconds, so thank you, Dr. White. No questions about the Sam Taylor Scholarship. We will move on. Our next presenter, happy to just present her this morning. Again, I misspelled her name and certainly apologize for that. But Ms. Jasmine Stevenson is joining us from the Credit Union Foundation. She is no stranger to many of us, as she was a former financial aid administrator at one of our Great 58, Durham Tech. So thank you, Ms. Stevenson, for joining us today to talk about the 24-25 State Employee Credit Union People Helping People Scholarship. And if you don't mind, Jasmine, let me know when you're ready, and also let me know to move your slides. I'm more than happy to do that.
Perfect. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me, Brenda?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of SECU Foundation, we would like to welcome and thank everyone for their attendance today. Again, I am Jasmine Stevenson from the SECU Foundation. I will be your point of contact for scholarship-related questions throughout the year, and will be leading you through this presentation. We designed this webinar to give you an overview or refresher of the eligibility criteria and implementation of the SECU Foundation People Helping People Scholarship. We anticipate our presentation should last about 25 minutes. I'm going to try to keep it short for everyone. I know we have a lot to review this morning, and we're going to do a Q&A at the end. So if you can hold your questions, that will be great. We will begin by providing an overview of the scholarship itself, then move through eligibility criteria, highlight any changes that have been made, move on to administration of the scholarship, describe what your responsibilities are as a facilitator, our new Flux software, and give you a scholarship timeline with important dates to ensure that everyone stays on track. Throughout the presentation, we will be referencing the scholarship materials. We have not provided them as of yet, still making sure that everything gets approved for everyone, but I should be able to get those materials to you in March. So just a brief explanation of the SECU Foundation. We were created in 2004. So this year we are actually celebrating our 20th anniversary, which is very exciting for us. And most of you that I have met already know that at the foundation, we really believe in the power of a dollar. So if you are a member of SECU, we thank you for your dollar every month from your checking account. That is how we raise funds for the foundation. The foundation does have four basis of area of focus that we focus on. We do grants for human services, housing, healthcare, and of course, education. Around last year, we were able to garner around $20 million just from the $1 from everyone's checking account. So thank you so much for that. And 10 to 12 million of that went towards our scholarships. So you all are super familiar with our People Helping People scholarship for community college. We do mirror the same scholarship at our four-year institutions here in North Carolina, our 16 public North Carolina universities. That People Helping People scholarship is at $10,000. And we have our public fellows internship at the universities as well, and our continuing education program at community college, which is our bridge to career. And next slide, please, Brenda. And one more. All right. So the People Helping People eligibility criteria outlines our requirements for all recipients selected for the scholarship. And this is the flyer for the current year that we're in. Everyone will receive an updated version in March. This is the flyer that we ask that you post at all schools, on your websites, social media, etc. We'll also make sure that we have this flyer posted on our social media accounts as well as the SECU Foundation website. Please note that the eligibility criteria may be updated for the upcoming 2024-2025 aid year. We have found that some recipients awarded the scholarship are being enrolled in diploma or certificate programs. This does cause an issue for the facilitation of our scholarship because diploma and certificate programs typically require less than 4 semesters to complete. And because we do not currently offer replacements, this causes our funds to go unused. And the intention of the People Helping People Scholarship is to fund associate's degrees. So we found that it may be best to update the language to only include associate's degrees. Once we get the language approved, I'll make sure that I communicate that information with you all via email. Next slide, please. And we want to go over a few scholarship program reminders as a refresher. So again, the SECU Foundation will distribute a total of 116 scholarships for the 2024-25 award year, valued at $5,000. Each of the 58 North Carolina community colleges will be able to award 2 scholarships for 2 new recipients in the fall. A single $5,000 award cannot be split up between students. The scholarship is payable at $1,250 per semester for 4 consecutive semesters. I would like to include that we do allow exceptions for some students that may be having health emergencies in which they are unable to be enrolled for that year, or if they have any military services that they need to do for the semester in which they cannot be enrolled. If there's anything that falls under that umbrella, please let me know. We do provide exceptions because we don't want a student to miss out on their entire award just because they are unable to enroll for 1 semester. And the scholarship is to be awarded to students who are high school graduates or students who have completed the GED program and will be full-time enrolled at one of the North Carolina community colleges. Next slide, please. And you can go ahead and pull down all the bullets. Can you pull down the bullets, Brenda? You may have to press enter. Perfect. So what is your role as the facilitator throughout this process? The SECU Foundation People Helping People Scholarship administrator role includes the following responsibilities: communicating all updated selection processes and 2024-25 materials with your selection committee, ensuring that the scholarship is advertised to incoming and returning students. Example, making sure the scholarship information is posted on the college website, sent through email, and shared with student advisors helping students register. Establishing the scholarship selection committee to determine final selection of scholarship winner or winners for your college. Communicating final selections with SECU Foundation. The foundation will verify that each recipient chosen has submitted all required materials and meets the GPA eligibility before confirming selection with the college. As well as serving as the point of contact for scholarship-related questions for interested candidates. SECU Foundation will direct students back to the community college for questions about processes or deadlines. And I think we had one question in the chat. Yes. So that is correct. So if a student misses a payment due to GPA or part-time enrollment, that does follow under there as well. So if a student goes under full-time enrollment, does not meet their GPA for a semester, that does not disqualify them from the entire scholarship. And if there are any additional questions about that, please email me, and I will make sure that I address that directly for you. Next slide, Brenda. Some other selection considerations. SECU Foundation asks that preference be given to students who have identified financial need through the submission of a FAFSA form. SECU Foundation is not asking students to submit their FAFSA forms or EFC numbers with the application, nor are we requiring community college financial aid offices to verify or provide proof that the student has a financial need. The student application asks the students to answer yes or no to the two following questions. Have you submitted your FAFSA, and have you demonstrated financial need? Your responsibility is only to confirm that they indicated yes in response to submitting FAFSA to meet this requirement. Preference may be given to students whose parents or guardians or family members are public sector employees living and working in North Carolina. Public sector includes state, local, or federal government, public health, and public education. It is important to know that SEC membership is not a requirement for this scholarship. We get that question a lot, and you do not have to be a member to receive our scholarship, the community college scholarship. If a student is wanting to do the 4-year, you do have to have membership. In addition, preference may be given to students with limited financial aid from other programs. The student application for the People Helping People Scholarship allows us to gain more insight into the scholarship recipient's background and future plans. Included in this application are community involvement short answer questions. Since the purpose of the People Helping People Scholarship is to recognize leadership, integrity, and community involvement in addition to academic achievement, we are asking students to complete these questions by highlighting ways they have contributed to their community. The short answer questions calls for examples of community service and leadership. This must be completed as part of the application to be considered for the scholarship. This was an update that we made last year. We found that there were issues with students wanting to complete our application, in part because of the essay requirement. So hopefully the update to the short answers will pull in a few more applications for everyone. Brenda, next slide, please. And there should be a few bullets. Thank you so much. When submitting scholarship recipient packets to the foundation, the community college must be sure to include all of the following. 1, the recipient's completed student data form and community involvement short answer questions. The Community College Scholarship Selection Committee must submit a prepared letter signed by all committee members and naming the recipients. The selection letter must be submitted on your community college's letterhead. We cannot accept selection letters on your office or department's letterhead. We do require that 2024 People Helping People consent form be signed and dated by the student and parent or guardian if the student is younger than 18. This consent form allows the use of their names and images for press release to the local news media, as well as within SECU and the SECU Foundation. Next slide, please. Regarding the selection committee and selection letter, each community college is required to create a scholarship selection committee comprised of 3 or more members who will make the final decision on scholarship recipients for the college. Your community college selection committee is responsible for administering, advertising, and selecting the 2 new recipients based on the eligibility criteria provided. Once students submit their scholarship materials, the scholarship selection committee will review and make a final determination of which 2 students will be awarded the scholarship at your respective college. A written statement identifying the community college's chosen recipients must be signed by all scholarship selection committee members and submitted on your community college's letterhead, not the college's foundation letterhead. And please ask veteran FAOs if they don't mind sharing, either by speaking or typing in the chat, who comprises their selection committee. So I know sometimes we'll have folks from the foundation, we'll have some folks from the financial aid office. It can be a plethora of folks on your campus. Whatever works for you all. If you cannot get everyone to hand sign the letter, please email me. That is acceptable as well. And next slide, please. So the foundation has set a deadline of August 5th, 2024, by which scholarship selections must be submitted electronically for review of material completion. However, it is recommended that each financial aid office set an internal deadline for applicants to turn in all scholarship materials for committees to make a final selection to submit. Students should not be notified that they have been selected as a recipient until the foundation has verified that all materials have been received and eligibility criteria has been met. Once the foundation has notified the selection committee that the recipients meet the eligibility criteria, then the students may be informed. The scholarship selection committee will need to advise the foundation of the dates and times of the award ceremony, so that a representative of the local SCCU branch and an advisory board member may be in attendance to present the certificates at the award ceremony that day. At the bottom of the page, we did remove this because the rosters are now updated. So now we are going to be going into how our submission process has been updated for the year. Most of you have already logged into your Flux accounts and you have completed the rosters. So I really thank you, all of you, for completing that as of yet. Most of our payments have already gone out. If there are questions about spring 2024 payments, please let me know. You should have received email notifications that payments were sent out. So now we're going to go into Flux and how we're going to submit our recipients for fall 2024. Brenda, next slide, please. So the submission method of materials previously mentioned for People Helping People has been updated for 2024. Facilitators will be submitting their nominees through our new grant portal called Flux. Fortunately, we began the integration of the scholarship into Flux during spring. All of you have logged in. If there are any password issues, please let me know. We can get that updated for you as well. So this is how we are going to go about submitting everything moving forward so that you're not emailing me your scholarship materials. So you're going to begin by logging into your Flux account. And whenever you log in, on the left-hand sidebar, you'll see that there will be draft applications. There should be one application per community college. So unlike you have two rosters, you'll only see one opening for the draft application. Once you see that, click that option, and then you'll press edit to input the recipient information. Next slide, Brenda. So once you open up the application, you'll see a program field that has been added so that you may report what associate's degree the recipient intends on completing. This program field addition is included on the student data form that will be provided to you as well. You'll check your primary contact information and update if necessary. A lot of you did update some of the address and primary contact information whenever you submitted your rosters. So I really do appreciate you doing that. If anything does change in the meantime, you can edit it at this time. You'll also input your college president, financial aid director, and your award ceremony details. If the award ceremony information has not yet been confirmed, the system does allow you to skip that step, and then you can email me the information once it is available. Zilma, I can see you put a chat. Great suggestion. It would be great if the portal could allow more than one user per college in case we need staff members to have their individual logins. Yes, we have gotten that feedback. Unfortunately, Flux won't allow us to do that right now, but we definitely implore you all to share your login information if you have several people on your team that will be using the Flux system for now. And you'll also input your basic demographic information for both recipients. If you look on here, the only demographic information that we're asking you to actually type in is their first name, last name, student ID, address, program, and a few other demographic informations. We're not asking you to completely fill it in like when you do a job board, because we're going to have you still to upload those data forms. Next page, please. It's going to ask you for scholarship details, so $5,000 per student. If you are submitting 2 students, then you would say $10,000. If you're only submitting 1 recipient, you would say $5,000. And then you will see where you have the requirement to upload the documents. These are the same documents that we have always required that you submit. So again, instead of emailing me the attachments, you'll just upload on Flux using the blue plus signs. Then you'll save and close, and then don't forget to press submit. A comprehensive email that includes these screenshots and notes will be provided to you via email, along with all of the materials later in March. Next slide, please. Perfect. So having discussed scholarship criteria and implementation, let's take a look at a general timeline we've created to give you an opportunity to start thinking about how you'd like to set the program at your community college and ensure that you stay on track. So typically from March through April, each college should establish a selection committee and create a process for choosing the recipients at your college. If your school has not already begun this process, please do so as soon as possible. You can refer to the eligibility criteria and operating procedures. Again, that will be sent out to you. By the end of April, your college will want to communicate your process with applicable departments and student advisors. Please make sure that you share the eligibility criteria, application, consent form, and the scholarship flyer with the people directly advertising and sharing the scholarship with your students. In April and May through June, your school should begin receiving scholarship applications from students. As mentioned previously, each college should have a date by which all student applications must be received in order to submit to the selection committee to make selections and submit to the foundation. In July, the scholarship selection committees at each college will select 2 new scholarship recipients to receive the award. Your college should have both of their recipients decided before the August 2024 deadline. And again, the deadline is going to be on the 5th. Your college will submit the recipients a full scholarship packet via Flux to the foundation, who will then verify that all materials have been received. Please do not announce the recipients until the foundation has confirmed that the above criteria is met. As a recap, the full scholarship packet includes a completed student data form with short answer essay questions, signed consent form, and signed community college selection committee statement verifying their choice of recipients. And last slide, Brenda. So we'd like to thank you for participating and facilitating the administration of the SCCU Foundation People Helping People Scholarship. Your involvement ensures the program's success. And should you have any additional questions after the webinar, please feel free to contact me. I know most of you do have my email address. It is here on the last slide. If you do not have that information, I really had the pleasure of meeting most of you in person, and I look forward to working with you all again this 8th year. And thank you again, Brenda, for letting me hop in on your meeting today.
You are most welcome, Jasmine. A few seconds for questions. Any are, if you will unmute yourselves, or if you will put your questions in the chat for Ms. Stevenson. Ten seconds, not seeing any questions. Thank you again, Jasmine, for your time and for all of the information that you have shared with us today. We're certainly most appreciative. And I do want to point out before you leave that I believe that all 58 of our colleges have provided in the past couple of years at least one recipient for the scholarship. Is that correct, Jasmine?
Yes, not quite 58. We're at about 56 or 57. So we want to make sure that all 58 are able to participate in the 8 years coming up. So
Absolutely.
If there are any issues with implementing the scholarship, if you're having a hard time finding applicants, please do let us know. So we'll try to be a helping hand for you all.
Thank you. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jasmine. We will move on. We're going to move on now to the Golden Leaf Community College Scholarship, and Dr. White is going to share some updates as well as some reminders with you. But before she comes on, I do want to just share with you that the Golden Leaf Foundation is celebrating 25 years of service. Their logo has changed to reflect their new branding or their new image. And they have asked that we share that information with you all. So if you are sending out any advertisements for the Golden Leaf Foundation, if you will let me know, I'll be happy to send you their new logo that they've asked be used with any outgoing information, and anything that we send out to you all from the Golden Leaf Foundation will display their new logo. So without further ado, Dr. White.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope that everyone is off to a great new year. I'm going to provide you with an overview of some of the reminders that we'd like to make sure that you're aware of. I think the colleges are doing a great job as it relates to expenditures compared to in previous years. We have quite a few the numbers in terms of what we're expending compared to last year is up by a significant amount. And so this morning, I just want to provide some reminders so that we can continue with the work that we're doing, getting funding out to needy students across the state. So Brenda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick overview of the reminders, and then I'll share a couple of updates on this slide, and then we can move to the next one, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
First thing that I wanted to mention is that the system office will be monitoring your expenditures. For those of you who normally went out to see the dashboard on a regular basis, you probably saw that in the fall semester it wasn't updated because we have a new process now. And so one of the things that I will tell you is that it has been updated now with all of the awards that were made from August through December, and it includes the expenditures that the system office has dispersed to the colleges from your monthly reports up to December. And as of January the 24th, January of this year, we will start sending out payments to colleges from our business office on February 15th. And the dashboard will be updated monthly as a result of that. So we want you to go out and take a look at the dashboard to see if you have any questions, if there's anything that looks a little different, or in terms of what your expenditures are, then you can always reach out to us, and Brenda and I will make sure that we check it and make sure it's updated appropriately. Also, I want to mention, just as a reminder, the system office received $2 million this year to award out to students across the state. This is an increase. And so there are certain guidelines that we've been provided to ensure that those funds are delivered to the campuses across the state. So I do want to remind you that if you're not familiar with what your allocation is, that you go out and take a look at that allocation so that you can ensure that you are expending the money that has been awarded to your college or allocated you to your college. Once we begin our monitoring, we will be reaching out to those colleges that have awarded less than, I would say, 1/3 of their Golden Leaf Award. And we're doing that to ensure that we have a firm understanding of whether or not all colleges are going to be awarded the funding that has been awarded, that has been allocated to them. And so we'll be reaching out to you probably later in this month, within the next couple of weeks. Also, I wanted to remind everyone to make sure that as you send in your monthly reports that you are totaling your awards. That's very important. For awards that aren't totaled, we'll end up having to send them back to you, and then you'll send it back to us, because we have to know for sure exactly the total amount of funds that you're requesting. At this time, Brenda, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and move the slide, and we'll go in to the next one. The Golden Leaf calendar for Golden Leaf monthly submission and reporting. This is really, really important. Most of you are doing really, really well on making sure that you get your reports in by the deadline. So on this slide, I've highlighted in yellow all of the reporting dates for the colleges for the spring semester. So for January 2024, the Golden Leaf for your monthly report, the due date was January 31st, 24. And for your payment dates, it's February the 15th, 24. So the student service areas, when your report comes in, it comes into student services. We review the reports, and then we have a few days to review those reports, and we send your report, one report for all colleges, out to the finance office. So for the month of January, that report goes out on February the 7th. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you get those monthly reports in on time, and that you check them to make sure that you have total your awards. Also make sure that the monthly name uh, or signature for financial aid in the business office is included on your report. If for some reason that it's not included, then we will send it back and ask you to resubmit it with the signature, uh, with the appropriate signatures. And we have a few colleges that do their reports a little bit differently in terms of their signatures, and they send in a separate signature page with the students listed as well as the template. We do need all of your reports on the template that we've sent out to you. If for some reason you have to use an additional signature page, then that is in addition to the template that we require you to submit to the student service office. In addition to that, just want to encourage all of you to spend your awards by May 30th. You heard us talk about that last year. Try to spend your awards. When I say spend, award your allocations to your students by the end of May. This ensures that all of your funds will be spent by June 30th. We have a chart here, as you can see, that if all of your awards are in by May 31st, that your college will receive expenditures by, which means your reimbursement by June 13th, 2024. We do have a line item included on this payment roster that Brenda and I think, are going to check on with our business office to determine what kind of impact it would be if we have colleges that are submitting their reports in between June and June 30th on June 28th. The difference, I think, for us this year is that the business office, our business office, sends the expenditures to your college. But we will check on that and find out a little bit more about that. Brenda, I don't know if you want to make any comments on that or not. But that is one question that we're going to ask about the expenditures that go out from the system office on July 11th.
No additional comments on that other than to say that these dates that we have that are listed before you, these dates were confirmed by our business office, but as Dr. White has indicated, we will double check to make sure that any payments that go out on the 11th of July will be applied to your end of year June 30 for reconciliation. And Dr. White, there is a question in the chat from
I see it.
Okay.
Okay, I do see the question from Nancy. And Nancy, what I am suggesting is that you go ahead and award them and post them to your student account by that date. And that is what we're asking you to do, if absolutely possible, to ensure that you get those awards in. So if you get it into your student account by that day, then we're going to be requesting that those funds be reimbursed to your school on June 13th. So that is everything that I need to say for that slide. Is just make sure that each of you pay attention to the slide. Keep it somewhere as whoever's processing Golden Leaf to make sure that you are here to those due dates. Sometimes we do get the reports in a few days after that. It is during my processing time, but I will go ahead and review it if I possibly can. However, if we have to send it back to your school and you send it back to us, we do need to try to get it in before those dates that we are required to submit the report to the business office. So it is important that if you can pay attention to that, and then just call me if you have any questions. You can call me, you can email me. Brenda and I are both available to answer questions, but I would suggest that you send it to me first, and then if I need to get any feedback from Brenda, then I can do that, and we can make sure that you're taken care of and your requests go in to our business office for your college reimbursement. So Brenda, I'm going to ask you if you'll go ahead and change the page now. Okay, so let's talk about the interim reports. I got quite a few questions in January about the interim reports, and it could be because we're now doing monthly reports and we require the interim reports as well. But the interim reports are requested 3 times a year. They're required because of Golden Leaf. This is a report that Golden Leaf asks that we submit to Golden Leaf so that they can see how many students that we award across the state in the spring as a result of the fall semester, in the spring, in the summer, and then we have a final cumulative report that comes out in October. So we want to make sure that you use the template. That's another thing that I want to tell you, that each college should use the interim report templates. If there's some reason that you can't get the signatures on the interim is one signature. You can't from the financial aid administrator. If for some reason you can't get that and you send a separate report with the signature that also lists the students on your interim report, it needs to match the template that you sent into us. That's very, very important, because if it doesn't match, we're going to send it back. Remember that this is a list that Golden Leaf is requiring, and they want to make sure that they have a list of all of the students that we've awarded for the year. So this is very, very, very important. So let's go over the dates. For the spring term, your due date is May 16. That is January 1 through 24, January to 1, 24 through 5, 15, 24. So if for some reason, which is great, that you award all of your Golden Leaf awards and you've completed them, you don't need to send your spring report in early, but you can go ahead and complete it, put it in a file, and we will send a notice out to you probably early May, asking you to send in your Golden Leaf spring report. If you've already awarded your Golden Leaf, you've already checked it, I would say double check it, make sure there are no ineligible students on your report, and send it in to us. It's already done. This year, I will say that we had less ineligible students on our reports. It means that you all are listening, and we appreciate it so much. We only had a few. So we ask that when you make your awards first for the students, that you check your records, your registrar's records, just to make sure that that student is from an ineligible county. The next date that a report is due is July 20th. That is our summer report. That report is a little bit smaller than the other reports, but we do ask that you submit it. We'll ask for it by July 20th. And we require that all colleges who've awarded summer aid to go ahead and submit that to us at that time. And the cumulative report. The cumulative report includes fall, spring, and summer for the 23-24 year. That report is not due until October 10th, 2024. So we'll request that report in the fall semester. And I see something said that is a Saturday. So if the date says Saturday, then you want to get it in before Saturday. We ask that you just get it in before the Saturday or the following Monday. It will work for us. That'll be fine. And Brenda and I'll go back and look at that date. If it's going to create any confusion for the colleges, then we'll put it on a Friday and we can do that. So thank you, Ann, for letting us know that. So that is my update on the interim reports. Interim reports, make sure you got a signature. I would say still total it. Make sure you don't have any ineligible students on it, and use the template that we provide. Use the interim report template. As most of you know, well, all of you should know that the template that Brenda provided in the fall, it not only has your interim report templates on it, but it also has your monthly report templates. If for some reason that you make awards during a month, those awards don't get reported to us, or if they get reported to us and they're reported after our submission date, then you would need to report those students on the next month report, which means that if those awards were made in January and you're not reporting them to February, they need to go in as February reports. That's how we report to our business office. That's how they keep up with the record of the monthly reports that we submit to them, and then they disperse them back to your college. So next, let's go to the next slide, Brenda. Required signatures, and you've heard me mention that, and most of you do that, but sometimes I understand that you get busy and sometimes we're missing a signature. It's very important that you pay attention to those line items, because without the signatures, I can't verify that everything is correct because you haven't verified it to me. And so I need the signatures for the monthly report, for your business office, and for your financial aid administrator. And then once we get that, we'll submit it on as a part of that monthly report. So I just want to make sure that I mention that. And it does slow down the process too. I'm sure it slows down your daily process, and it slows down the process for me as well, because I'm sending out reminders, you're sending it back to me. And then those reminders that you're sending back to me, they're getting tied up during the time that I'm also reviewing other reports. So if you could just make sure you check that, make sure you check the totals, I think we'll have a really good transition period for the spring semester and getting your monthly payments to you. Next, Brenda. Okay, now this is a very important Golden Leaf Award reminder that we wanted to share with you because we noticed a couple of things this year. So we want to make sure that everyone knows the total annually that a curriculum student can receive is $2,250. And a student enrolled full-time may receive $1,125 per term. However, a one-term student cannot receive more than $1,125. So you got to make sure that you pay attention to that. Also with CE students, those are our continuing education students, they can receive up to $1,850 annually and should be awarded according to the curriculum semester that's set up in Khalid. For example, if a CE student enrolls in a course starting in October and ends in February, then a scholarship award can be split, including $925 and then $925 for the spring. We just want to make sure you're doing that. And a student can be awarded if they're half-time. So, which means that you also have to adjust the half-time awards. We want to make sure that you're aware of that and that you're paying attention to that as well. Next slide. Okay. And so what I would say to each of you, if you have any questions, I think this year has been going very well, and I appreciate how attentive you all are in getting back to me if I have a question or about an item that you may send in, please know that we want to make sure that we get those funds out to your college as soon as possible. And please contact me, contact Brenda. We have our contact information here. We also have a new individual that's working with us in the business office. Her name is Megan Blaylock. She's an accountant too. We send all of our information to her. She is the contact we have that notifies us when your college has been paid. I know that some of your colleges, for the reports that came in the fall semester, were not paid by the date that the business office we had scheduled our business office to pay the colleges, and that had to do with the new accounting system. So I want you to know that as far as we are aware, those bugs have been worked out with that new accounting system. And so your payments should come in on time during the spring semester. If for some reason we find out that there is something going on, that the payments aren't going out as scheduled, we will make sure that we contact you so that you can contact your business office. And we will also encourage the business office at the system office to reach out to the business offices on the campus so that they can be aware of it as well. Also, it looks like we have a new name under the Golden Leaf contact, but Arlena Don Gilly, I'm pronouncing her name, not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, so Brenda, help me. I think it's Don Gilly. Jonjali. She is
Yes.
married, and we congratulate her very much. But she is still the same person that's working with us. She's our Golden Leaf contact. She works with us very closely to ensure that the funds come in so that we can submit them through our business office and to your college. So we want to make sure that you have all of that contact information as well. And I'll pause for just a minute. If there is any questions, then we will try to answer them now. If there aren't any questions, please email me. I welcome your questions. We want to make sure this is our first year doing this process, so we want to make sure that we get it right and that we're serving you in the way that you deserve. Okay, there are no questions, Brenda. So I would say let's move on to the next section of our presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. White, for the updates and reminders on the Golden Leaf Scholarship Program. I know it seems like we continue to just kind of, for lack of a better term, beat a dead horse, but we are trying to make things right for and make it a smooth process for our colleges, as well as for the system office and for the Golden Leaf Foundation. But we do want to thank you. And I will move rather quickly on these because these programs that I'm talking about, you're no stranger to, and just want to respect your time. The 23-24 Child Care Grant Program, I know that our budgets were approved later in the year than they have been, but your allocations were about $3 million this year as opposed to a couple of years ago when you only had the $1 million to work with. So I do want to thank you for your time and the effort that you're putting into making sure that you're utilizing the Child Care Grant Program funds, because as we know, that is funding that is essential to some of our student parents with child care needs while they're attending college. So we do have about 6 colleges that are looking at and exploring options for fully utilizing all of their funding by trying to share those funds with CE students and also CCR students. we are having a meeting with this particular cohort in a few hours just to talk about their progress and to gain any feedback before we open this opportunity up to all 58 of our colleges. And do want to say that the system office provides very limited guidance on how your college should best use the money. And first, what we do is we provide information or definition on what a provider is. And you all are much aware of this and know that it is an individual person, a business or an organization that provides childcare services to its customers. It can be a licensed or unlicensed daycare center, a individual provider, as long as it is not the student's parent, the parent of the exist other parent, or a personal nanny. It can be either one of those individuals. You can also use those funding for before and after school, as well as summer programs. Then we provide a little bit of information on payment. Want to make sure that the payment of funds goes directly to the provider and not to the parent of the child. And an invoice should accompany the payment request. That the we also want you to know that, you know, the student parent nor the other parent of the child can be reimbursed for services. And we want you to look at when you're making payments and making determinations on how to make child care payments to the student parents, make sure that, you know, it passes a reasonable test for cost. You don't want an invoice from an individual provider that is charging $300 or $200 a week versus, you know, someone that's asking for a payment for similar services in the amount of $500. So make sure that the costs are pretty reasonable and that you've got some payment mechanism in place for making those payments fair and equitable. A few don'ts is we don't want the college to pay in advance for any services that have not been provided or received by the provider. Child care funds cannot be used to support operating costs of a college child care facility, and colleges may not expend child care allocations for any administrative overhead, including salaries. And just want to point out to you that the 23-24 child care grant ends June 30. So just take a good look at where you are with your child care grant allocations and expenditures at this point. I'm calling this the midpoint of the academic year. So a few of our colleges have reached out and they have expended all of their funds and are wanting more. Well, the dilemma with that is we can't ask for more for one college without asking for more for all colleges. And in order for us to be able to ask for more funding from our legislature is we have to ensure that all 58 of our colleges are fully expending all of their child care grant monies. So just keep that in mind as you are preparing for end of the year, to just make sure that you're making good use of your child care grant monies, as well as your 23-24 targeted assistance and less than half-time grant. I know that those funds were just sent out within the last month or so, and would certainly apologize to that. That was delayed due to the late budget as well. But here are a few reminders for targeted assistance and less than half-time grants. Make sure that you are identifying programs in which students are enrolling in low enrollment programs that will prepare them for those high demand jobs. Also take a look at your students who have disabilities and or have been referred by the Department of Human Health and Human Services, Voc Rehab, and enroll on a less than half-time basis. Again, your college will identify the programs and also make the awards to the students. Less than half-time grants should not exceed the cost of tuition. And tuition for in-state residency, I believe, remains at the $76 per credit hour. For those that are enrolled less than half-time, that would be 1 to 5 credit hours. A FAFSA is required because it is a need-based grant. All funds should be expended by June 30 as well. We have had a couple of colleges to ask for additional monies, but again, that works like the child care grant. So in order for those colleges that are desiring more funds to get more, we need to show that we are, all 58 are able to spend all of their monies. And do want to share this reminder with you is that you can use 100% of it for targeted assistance, or you can use 100% of it for less than half-time. I think it was back in 2009, between 2009 and 11, that the grants were combined. So there's no more split that you have to use a certain amount for less than half-time or targeted assistance. That funding can go to either or as it best meets the needs of your students. An end of the year report will be required by the system office, and we're asking that you complete that report by July 31st of 2024. And I will be sending out a report template possibly by the end of May. So for those that like to complete it early and meet that June 30 deadline, that will be fine as well. And I will certainly put that in the notes when I send the template out to you all. And last for me is a couple of months ago, an email went out to the community, to the financial aid listserv. The system office has worked hard to create a listserv for our VA certifying officials and others that assist with VA education benefits. The purpose in this is we wanted to create a communication pipeline just for our community colleges because we do serve a large population of veteran and military students who are assisting them with education benefits. So just as our financial aid listserv and some of the other ones serve as communication pipelines, we wanted to do the same thing for VA. So college IT departments should have received an email from someone here at the system office that gave them instructions on how to set it up, set the listserv up. So if you are interested in being a part of the Veterans Affairs listserv, certainly reach out to your IT departments to see if they actually set it up, and if they did, to see how you may be able to join the VA listserv. And I see that I spelled serve wrong. We'll certainly make that correction for you and send out a corrected presentation. And I know I went through it rather quickly, but it was information that you all were already familiar with other than the VA listserv. I am happy to take questions about anything that was presented today or any other questions that you may have in mind. Don't be shy, unmute your mics or put your questions in the chat. Right here are some resources that we have provided for you, including the Golden Leaf dashboard, the link to the Life Sciences organization, as well as the Credit Union Foundation. And as always, we do put the link in here to our service portal. Seeing no questions in the chat and not seeing any mics unmuted, We want to thank you for your time today. Certainly apologize that we've gone over about 11 minutes, but hope that you will have an awesome rest of the day. If you have any questions about anything that we have shared with you today, please do not hesitate to send us an email or pick up the phone and give us a call. Have an awesome day.
Thank you.